Okay, so today I'll be leaking some lore books. These leaks have been floating around for a while now, so it's not that new, but if you have never seen them before, link to the Google Docs will be in the description. There's even a few song lyrics in here, like the Hammer's Call and Giddy Shoes March. If you're too lazy to read them, I'll read them for you now. On to the first book. Operation Puppet Master Report. Classified. The contents of this document are entrusted to Reach Warden Class Command. Should this document be found by an authority member ranking below Warden Class, it is to be thoroughly destroyed in the scenario where it cannot be safely delivered to High Command. Authorized Operation, Puppet Master Classification, Opposition Commander Status Correspondent, Lotus. Authority Inquisitor, Class 2 Operation Status, Compromised. Operation Description. Operation Puppet Master is a Class 2 espionage operation. The Inquisitor assigned to this operation is to find the identity of Atria's acting Lord Regent and keep log of interactions with Atris inhabitants. The nature of Class 2 forbids this operation from resulting in unnecessary escalation. Report 01 Initial Encounters 1320 Initial surveyings of the public offered inconclusive or insufficient information on the identity of the Lord Regent. Few are willing to speak at all, let alone in great detail. I will need to apply different methods if I am to gather anything concrete. Perhaps one of the local guards could be of use. Report 02 Subject Interrogation 1 o'clock Subject is a male Atrian guard by the name of Astaleshi. Subject was removed from his night post and replaced with an Atrian authority soldier of similar likeness as to avoid suspicion by his colleagues. Subject responds well to initial attempts at manipulative thundercall probing but appears to only be able to offer surface-level information. Subject describes the Lord Regent as a humble man who came into power when his grandparents were still young, but is either misinformed or delirious from the constant interrogation. Our reports suggest the Lord Regent has only been active in the Atrian Luminant for the past decade. Attempts to probe the subject's mind further does not result in new details. Attempts at reaching further into the subject's mind seem to stop short, as if being barricaded off. Report 03. Subject Interrogation. 5 o'clock. Subject was interrogated again but was administered an amnesiac before questioning. Subject's answers on the identity of the Lord Regent seems to have changed, as the subject now claims to have met him as he was rising to power. He claims the Lord Regent saved the people of Atria from the authority in their time of need and even visited his home personally. The lack of any consistency in the subject's answers on the Lord Regent further confirms my suspicions. I knew the subject may very well be compromised if I attempted the procedure, but to be so close in making a discovery I persisted anyways. I increased the voltage of the thunder call far beyond the limits of a normal hippocampal shock. The subject began to scream wildly as the voltage increased. The severity of the situation warranted the subject being terminated by the procedure if need be. The subject began to lose control of all motor functions and spasm wildly. If he died, then so would his secrets. Pouring all of my remaining ether into the attempt, the voltage continued to climb and climb and climb until I suddenly felt it. Exhausting the last of my ether in a final surge, I felt the wall within the subject's mind shatter. A horrible scream pierced my ears, followed by a vision of a horrible creature staring at me, its black tendrils flowing down its body like ribbons and its multiple emerald-shaped eyes drilling straight into my consciousness. I awoke to the subject's body on the floor. Ice splattered to the nearby wall. There was no time to apply amnesiacs to those who may have known the subject. Whatever the creature was that I had witnessed, it now knew I was here. Report 04. Extraction Summary. 9 o'clock. I fear I may not escape back to authority-controlled space, but even if I were to find home, I doubt I would ever find safety again. The authority member left in the place of Astaleshi did not rendezvous for our evacuation, yet somehow he speaks to me. I hear him in my thoughts. I now know what I saw in that vision. By breaking that mind veil, I was able to peer into the true form of that grotesque lord. Following the breaking of the mind veil, I have felt hands pulling at the edges of my mind, looking for recompense of the soul that was lost. The Atrians appear to have had a mental veil put over them in order to subjugate and control them, the same veil we Inquisitors use as a shield. But this veil was different, it was cold and held like a leech siphoning its host. Authority veils are administered by a single handler. Powerful seals like this require intense concentration to keep active. But a mental veil capable of subjugating an entire city? The very notion is unprecedented. This report must reach Warden Jericho's hands. Whatever this Lord Regent actually is, it is clear peace was never an option. This conflict between the Authority and Atria is intentional, and there are forces at play that we are yet to understand. Should I feel the hands of this creature pry too close to my mind, I will take the necessary measures to ensure I am not captured. Well, that's the end of the first piece of lore. Apparently the Authority were the heroes the whole time, who knew? Next I'll be reading Stars Above, and the Blade Between. This piece of lore hasn't been leaked on the wiki yet. Stars scatter across the sky on this night. I've watched the same scenery time and time again, but for just this once I felt particularly uneased. Truly, is this what must be done for our people? For Atria? I mumble to myself, clutching my blade in hand. Each star has a story. I remember my old companion told me upon nights similar to these. Her words echo through my head as I gaze upon this sky, although it is not the same. Upon this field, I sit without her now, as grass waves across the field with the night-touched wind. You're too sentimental, Raleigh, I'd often reply to her, unamused by those fairy tales. After all this time though, I suppose she was right. The stars above speak more to me now than ever before, and for each gleaming light in the sky, I know there must be a being above, watching us. An audience I'll never see, but cherish nonetheless. Tavi. A man calls out to me, though I am too entranced to notice at first. Tavi. Tavi Reshi. Wake up. Sire? He calls out once more, and I'm shaken out of my trance abruptly. I look over to the voice, and recognize Aras. Huh? What do you need at this hour, Aras? The stars are already out. I reply, looking up at him with a confused expression. The man flashes a wide grin, evidently he had just finished some sort of mischievous activity. The king requires us. One last meeting, I promise. Then, we're off to bed for the voyage tomorrow, Aras said in a cheerful tone. I still cannot understand how a man of such renown can remain so carefree, despite the battles he's fought. Aras looks over to my hand, eyeing it carefully. Quite a blade there, Tavi. What could you be doing with a weapon in such a serene place? He chuckles as he gestures toward the Queen's blade, just appreciating fine craftsmanship, is all. You needn't worry about such frivolities. I quickly reply, although too quickly to a fault, perhaps. I don't want to raise suspicion, especially tonight of all nights. Aras shrugs, chuckling. How charming. Now then, enough niceties. We have a meeting to attend. At this dreadful hour. He pulls me up off the grass, though I struggle to gather my balance for a moment. Suppose I've sat here for a while. I mumble to myself, standing up on my feet. Let's get going then. Aras spoke hastily, dragging me along to the royal palace. Dimly lit candles stretch across the halls of the Atrian palace. I observe as my fellow attendants walk toward the throne room, each man's armor clanking with each step. The carpet below my feet must be more expensive than my life's worth, so much so I almost feel bad for dirtying it with my soil-tainted boots. As we continue through the hall, servants quickly scramble to clean the mess our footprints left behind. It's a shame this is the life they're destined to live, one of my fellow attendants discusses amidst our group. Destiny, they say. Only a fool would consider their life already foretold. I glance at my ally, and contain a chuckle quiet enough to myself. 4 of us, myself included, will be entrusted to protecting the king upon his royal voyage tomorrow. Our destination is Markor, one of the capital cities of the Central Luminant. The king has politics to deal with, is the simplified version of what we've been told. The details are not meant for us lowly guards, the last thing they want is us forming our own opinions on the matter. A loud knock echoes throughout the halls, as we reach the door to the throne room. Men, here's to a quick meeting. Pray, Aras jests, before opening the door to the royal chamber. A large chandelier hangs overhead above the king of Etria, surrounded by paintings depicting events of our history, and a large window overhead the throne. Royal palace guards line the walls in an orderly fashion, evidently a formation in the king's tastes. So the four braves finally arrive, the king muses. I lower my head, and kneel. The rest of my men follow. Your Highness, what requires our presence at such an hour? Aras asks politely, lowering his head as he finishes his sentence. The king laughs, amused by the question as if it was obvious. It's not. Oh, my boy, I simply wanted to ensure you're all still living for our arrangement tomorrow. At dawn, we depart for Markor. Red prepared us a beauty of a vessel. The brave Hoshi, she calls it. What a lovely name. He lets out a hearty laugh, the likes of which make me sick to my stomach. How can a man so foul appear so calm? Does he not have any regrets for what he's done? I feel myself gripping my knee in frustration, before catching myself and exhaling. Calm. I need to remain calm for what lies ahead. Your Highness, I begin to inquire, are there private quarters on the ship for our voyage? It shall be a long week. I hope we may sleep soundly upon the harsh waves of Markor waters. The king nods with a dumbfounded look on his face, as if it were obvious. Of course, my boy. Each attendant shall have their own quarters to rest in for when the day is done. You're my only 4 passengers, after all. You shall live as my guests, in addition to my protectors. I nod. Thank you, my lord. Private quarters at night shall make this much easier. The others will be asleep when the time comes. Rolly, please watch over me for that night, as I'll ensure your people are remembered by the stars above, the witness to my legacy to be. For the corruption in this king lies unknown to the people of Etria, I know the truth. Legacy, they say. Legacy. I'll make you remembered. The meeting comes to an uneventful, short end, as the king becomes tired. It must be truly hard work sitting on a throne and ordering the slaughter of my people, my loved ones. As the other braves mingle on their way out, I retreat to my chambers hastily, as I have a more important meeting to attend to tonight. Bephalos has some final words for me. On the night of the last star, is what he told me. I can only assume that means right now, as there won't be stars in our sky for days. I enter my chambers and slam the door shut, locking it behind me. The Shadowcaster appears, to no fanfare or grandeur. Tavi, you look anxious, friend. Tell me, what is the matter? Bephalos inquires, as his spell fades. Surely, you're aware of the procedure tomorrow? He adds on. I'm aware, Bephalos. And yes, the blade, I know. I reply, looking toward the Queen's blade with my hand. He's emphasized to me before that this must be the blade to end it, although the reasoning is unclear to me. Perhaps it's some sort of ancient seal? I trust in him, nonetheless. Very good, Tavi. The day of your revenge is finally dawning upon you. How does it feel? Rolly will surely rest better in her tomb, knowing her murderer shall fall with her. The Shadowcaster muses, sneering toward me. I grip the blade tightly, then release as I sigh. I'd appreciate it if you avoided using her name in such ways. I am doing this for her, but that does not mean I'll allow you to disrespect her, fiend. I glare at the man, staring into his vacant purple eyes. Empty, unshaken by my words. Oh, so scary. Let's not make enemies with the ally that has granted you such an opportunity now. It's taken me great efforts to procure this blade for you, you know. Without it, the king would surely return. The man responds hastily, irritated most likely. Fine. I reply, calming myself down. Tomorrow is the day. I want to rest, Bephalos. What do you require of me? I ask, sitting down on my desk chair as I look up at the Shadowcaster. I simply need to leave one last touch, is all. Quality assurance is one way to put it. He laughs, and I stare blankly. Very well. Go ahead. The Shadowcaster takes the blade and focuses on it intensely. Shadows emit from it briefly, although I'm not knowledgeable on why. Shadowcast is a very rare sight in Etria, and the know-how of such topics is restricted to only the most elite of scholars to prevent misuse, so I've been told. Although, I've been told a great many deal of things that carry merit no more, as Bephalos has told me the truths of this kingdom. That is all, then. Rest well, Tavi. You'll need it. Bephalos smiles cheekily as he retreats to the window, before becoming a shade and fading. I look down to the Queen's blade once more, listening to it idly hum. So this is the fate we're making, Rolly. I ponder to myself, placing it on the desk. Without further delay, I retreat to my bedsheets. The morning of the fated day has come. Bright and early, boarding the brave Hoshi, so the king says. Here. Aras calls out to me from the dock, more excited than he should be. I wave, and approach him. Take a look at that, Tavi. I've never seen a grander vessel in my life. He exclaims, pushing me along onto the ship. Let me take my time, friend. I reply, trying to scope out the surroundings of the brave Hoshi. I stand upon the central deck, looking around. Large main deck. Private chambers that way. A kitchen of some sort the other way. And I mumble to myself, looking around the ship carefully. It seems my best option remains to be confronting the king within his private chambers, lest the others take notice of what's happening. A large hand smacks my shoulder, and as I jump from the startle. My boy. Isn't it beautiful? The king speaks, towering over me. It is, my lord. Indeed, it is. I sneer, looking off to the chambers. Say, my lord, which one of these are we occupying? There's 7 chambers here, 4 for us braves, 1 for you, 1 for the chef, and 1 for the captain. How do we know which is which? I ask politely, ensuring I maintain composure. The king walks over to the chambers, and proudly knocks on a large wooden door, taller than the rest. This here would be mine. If any matters or problems arise, please come see me, no matter the time. You are a part of the braves, after all. He laughs. Noted, my lord. I reply, staring at the door intently. How convenient. We depart from the Etra stocks, to a celebrated fanfare. Many Etrian citizens gather around and wave and cheer as we depart, wishing the king a safe journey. As our home fades from the sight of all of us on board, I'm reminded once more of our city, and what the king has taken from it. Yet they cheer him on. Blissfully unaware and controlled, all of his people. Bephalos' truth echoes throughout my head as I sit upon the deck, watching the waves of the Etrian waters roll by whilst the day passes. I wait patiently for the arrival of the Void Sea. This is when you strike, Bephalos instructed me during one of our initial meetings. The search for the lighthouse takes priority for all crew members, and for the others it is a time for rest. But for me, it is when the final hour begins. Upon the arrival of the Void Sea waters, the others become busy or fatigued. I've remained in my place throughout the entire first day of our voyage, watching the waves. I look up at the sky, and just as was foretold, no stars are to be seen. Hours pass, and Void Sea waters still surround us. The others have retreated to their chambers a long while ago, most perhaps resting by now. I'm ready. I stand up, and ensure my blade is at my side still. I approach the king's chambers, and knock 3 times. He opens the door, puzzled. Oh, King of Etria. You're a sorry fool. We need to speak. I say flatly, staring intently at him. I have no qualms, my boy. Is something the matter? He replies, still confused by the sudden request. Private matters. Please, allow me in. I glare at him. The door shuts behind me with a loud click, and the king takes his seat. The room is quite luxurious, as expected of this man's vain desires. Tell me, Tavi, what brings you here? He asks. That's the first time he's said my name in days. Pathetic. My lord, I've come to ask you for the truth. I want to know why you did it. I want to know what made you think all of this was okay. I stand over him, looking down at his puzzled expression fiercely. The truth? Of what? I need more explanation to understand what you speak of, my boy. There it is. My boy. Condescending, even to his last breath. Rolly. The fourth guard of Blade initiates. The second Driftland calamity. I speak harshly, leaning closer to him. Your Highness. You have killed hundreds of innocent people, in the name of understanding. I glare at him. He looks up at me, still puzzled. Rolly? What is that? Driftland. Huh? I'm afraid I've not been told the knowledge you seek, my boy. He replies. I snap. That was enough. I slam the desk nearby harshly, watching all of his regal silverware falling off. You sent her to her death, you fool. You knew that Driftland's time was running short. You knew there were mere days left in its lifespan. Yet you still sent her to her death. You're responsible. She's gone now. Why? Why? I start speaking faster than I can think, words leaving my mouth at a rapid pace, quicker than I can think over if they should be said. I'm shaking, red in the face, and on the verge of tears. You did this to her. She's gone now. Why? I scream at him. He looks at me, trembling and confused. Stop pretending. You know just as well as I what you did. Stop pretending you're clueless. Tavi. I think you're mistaken. Your head must be on loose. The fourth guard of Blade initiates never participated in the Driftland expedition. They weren't there for the second Driftland calamity. It's a tragedy, I know, but they simply weren't there, my boy. He shakes his head at me as he speaks, and my heart starts pounding harder. Liar. You think you can claim her life was never taken? You have no right. My people, my fourth guard, we did not lose ourselves for this. You are vile. Vile liar. You sent my people to their deaths. For that, you shall lose your own. I reach for the Queen's blade, hearing it hum louder. It sounds as if it were laughing. The king looks to my hand, and realizes what I'm about to do. He quickly gets up, and rushes to the door. It's locked, as per our agreement for our private discussion. As he scrambles for the key, I approach, blade drawn. The King of Itria. You are not deserving of this title. You've led my people, You lead Rolly to her death. This is your penance. I raise my arm, and with all my strength, I slash through him. A scream echoes throughout the ship. I hear footsteps scrambling across the deck outside. I look down upon the corpse of the liar, and then to my blade. You are a fool, Tavi. You have no idea what you've caused with my death. This penance of yours leads to more death than you could ever imagine. Fate will now steer Itria in my stead, but now, toward uncertainty. He coughs violently as he trembles on the floor. The blade laughs, and I stab it into his body one last time, leaving it there as he passes. I shake violently as I realize that it's done. Rolly has been avenged, our people are avenged, I've finally done it. I kneel upon the ground and weep tears of joy, knowing our turmoil has finally ended. I can finally be at peace. The people will know what he did, they'll see him as I saw him. I hear a familiar sound behind me. Shadowcast travel, the same as the previous night. I freeze, and look behind myself, and see Bephalos standing over me. Something feels wrong. You did a wonderful job, Tavi. He smiles at me, reaching down to the Queen's blade and pulling it from the corpse. Oh, how it's most pleasant to the touch now. The presence of the dead, a presence of great renown. He mutters to himself, brandishing the blade. You're such a good puppet. He grins, muttering. What do you? Huh? I stammer, trying to form words as my heart pounds more. Rolly would be so happy, wouldn't she? The king was responsible for her death, right? Bephalos asks in a mocking manner. I feel something crawling up my spine. Yes. That's what you told happened. That's what happened, yes. That's what I remember. I don't remember. I can feel tears welling in my eyes. What did I just do? Something feels horribly wrong. This was all for Ollie, right? It was the liar's fault she died. It's all I can remember. Tavi, you're truly a pleasure to work with. Now, I'm going to tell you something important. He crouches down to be at eye level with me. I'm still trembling on the ground. Outside that door is a world where 5 people know you just killed the king of Etria. They will kill you, Tavi, and the rest of the world will remember you as a vile assassin. I tremble, looking at him with fear in my eyes. What did I just do? This feels wrong. This isn't right. Gods below, I'm a fool. This never was right. But I can offer you a deal. A way to make things easier for the both of us, Tavi. Let me sink this ship within the waste of this void sea. Let the truth drown with its crew. And I can bring you somewhere where no soul shall have to know. I'll bring you to a place where the truth may stay hidden forever. The king is simply lost at sea, their crew is searching for the lighthouse for all of eternity. Bephalos smiles, grabbing my shoulder tightly. Should you decline, I'll let you go down with the rest of the crew. What do you say? He mutters quietly, glaring at me with those empty, vacant purple eyes. I look down at the blood on my hands, my legs, the room. I hear banging on the door, as the others have been alerted that something is wrong. Should I stay? I die. Should I go? I die, eventually. This wasn't right. I'll go to that safe place. I cry out, having given up on this fate. Very well, the man smiles. He gets up, holstering the queen's blade, then tying a blindfold around his eyes. Tavi, when you come to your senses there, I wish you the best of luck. Bephalos muses one last time, before turning away from me. I feel a darkness wrapping around myself, an ancient shadow cast out. My consciousness fades out, as an overwhelming weight rests on my mind. Rolly, forgive me. That's the end of that tale. Apparently that's how the Lord Regent got in power, by manipulating this high-ranking guard into killing the king of Etria. Really goes to show how a tragedy can break someone to a point where even a shady-looking shadow caster is able to convince them to turn on their country. I guess the Lord Regent is named Bephalos, quite a huge reveal. This video has gone on for way longer than I expected. Do like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I upload at least one video every day.